All right, our second section of Pitch Day is kicking off. This is the adoption section. We have some really fantastic companies presenting. I'm going to invite our judges to come out first. So round of applause for our judges. They can take their seats. And I'll pass it off to Tyler over here on the right to start with judge introductions.
Hey, everyone. Tyler Evans, one of the founders of BTC Inc. and managing partner at UTXO Management and our Bitcoin Ecosystem Fund. Pumped to be here.
Kelly?
I'm Kelly Brewster. I'm the CEO of Wolf. Wolf is a startup accelerator dedicated to Bitcoin. 4 times a year, we bring teams to New York for an 8-week program, help them get up and running, commercialize their idea, go to market, and hopefully have more options for raising capital.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike with Lightning Ventures. My friends call me Muzz. We have a very active syndicate of people who like to invest and support these companies, and a micro fund as well.
Hey, I'm Alex. I run Time Chain. We're a Bitcoin-focused venture fund out of London.
Hey everyone, I'm Max, founder of HiveMind Ventures. We are a super early stage fund that invests in the Lightning Network and Nostr. We like to go as early as possible, usually first money in, and yeah, excited to be here.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Kicking things off is Reactor. Come on out.
Hello, is there a clicker? Thank you. My name is Evan Price. I'm a technical lead at Reactor, and I'm here to talk to you today about mining. Mining is the backbone of the Bitcoin network. It performs 3 essential functions. It secures the network from attack, it ensures a global consensus of the state of the blockchain, and it ensures fair access to block rewards for all miners. Unfortunately, physical mining is difficult for the average Bitcoiner. First, you have to find a cheap energy source, which eliminates the majority of Bitcoiners right off the bat. Then you have to locate adequate cooling. You have to make a large upfront capital investment. That hardware takes a maintenance burden. And finally, you have to configure your miners. What firmware do you load? Which mining pool do you want to point to? Do you need to run a Bitcoin node? These are a lot of considerations for your average hobbyist. There's a hosted mining business model. This is where you buy a physical ASIC miner and you pay a third party to host it for you. We feel this model is problematic. A lot of times there is a lack of transparency in these relationships. Customers are surprised by fees, their hardware breaks down, which leads to lost profits and lots of angry support tickets. Overall, we think this is a bad model. And this leads to a situation where mining is not decentralized. We estimate that there are about 100 times as many Bitcoin owners as Bitcoin miners. The big miners control the majority of the hash rate, and mining has very poor geographic distribution. This is, frankly, not acceptable for the future of money. We have to fix this if Bitcoin is going to be successful. Fortunately, at Reactor, our mission is to democratize access to Bitcoin while strengthening the network by making it as easy to mine as it is to buy. Our goal is to onboard 100 million Bitcoin miners by 2030. How does it work in principle? It's pretty simple. You log into our website, purchase a hash power contract, you direct your hash power to the mining pool of your choice, and you start earning Bitcoin. Our hash rate is resilient in a number of ways. We have geographically redundant hash rate providers that we contract with. We maintain a hash power reserve, so the majority of hash rate flows into our company pool account. We call it overcap. And this allows us to auto-balance our customer miners. And this is what that looks like. On the top graph here, you can see hash rate flowing into the Reactor system. On the bottom, you can see hash rate flowing to a customer's virtual miner machines. And as you can see, there's a number of facility outages. I think this was the most recent winter storm in Texas. Fortunately, our customers were made whole. Auto-balancing kicked in, over-provisioned hash rate to make up for their loss during the outage, and then we see the trend line return to that nice, steady, flat line that we like to see. We're also very excited about integrating with the Lightning Network and exploring the synergies between mining and the Lightning Network. The first thing we've done is build LNURL integration into our platform. So you can log into our website with your Lightning wallet. It's as easy as scanning a QR code or pasting an LNURL string into your browser plugin. Once you're logged in, when you decide to buy, the easiest thing to do is all you have to do is pick a mining pool and enter your mining pool account name. You will need to go to one of these mining pools and set up an account on their website. But once you save that configuration, it gets persisted to the backend, and you can be hashing in minutes. Here's a customer testimonial. As you can see, this guy has been jerked around a lot by his hosted mining provider. He was very excited to start mining with Reactor once he learned about our service. So what's the addressable market? Well, the first number to look at is the $20 billion of mining fees and ASIC sales. This is sort of the current state of the market. But here at Reactor, we feel we are at the ground floor of two intersecting hockey stick trends. There are 8 billion people on the planet now, and we're pretty sure they're all going to want some Bitcoin very soon. In addition, there is over $1 trillion of negative rate and stranded energy producers. These are people who are producing electricity either not for a profit or even at a loss. They're all going to want to start mining Bitcoin soon. We're very excited to get in between these two parties and serve as a facilitator for these transactions. And our product is live. We have sold out of our first tranche of virtual miners. We had a short contract for 30 days, and we sold out very quickly. We're currently in Warp 2, and as you can see on the left, we've sold so far about 10 times as much hash rate, and we've pulled in almost $300,000 in sales so far. So what's on our roadmap? Like I said, we're most excited about the Lightning Network. First place we want to go is mining payouts. We also want to investigate selling Lightning channels that have guaranteed payment flows. We feel this could be a powerful tool for routing node operators' toolbox. We have even more mind-blowing products in mind for Lightning, but I don't want to leak too much alpha here up on stage. Another place we're very excited to go is Stratum v2. This is frankly the mining protocol that we should have had 5 years ago. It's more secure, more efficient, and more decentralized than Stratum v1 because miners are able to build their own block template. We're going to build a sexy mining dashboard. We want to put every metric that matters at our customers' fingertips so they can make intelligent mining decisions. We also want to build long-term contracts. We believe that Bitcoiners are low-time preference, long-term thinkers. And long-term contracts align incentives and make for a stronger Bitcoin network. We're also very excited to introduce a choose-your-own hash rate provider feature. We have a thesis that Bitcoin hash rate providers can differentiate themselves from their competitors by their energy mix. And if we release this product, we could provide a market-based solution to climate change. We're very interested to test this thesis in reality. And finally, to decentralize the network as much as possible, we want to explore the possibilities of do-it-yourself mining pools and eliminate any remaining barriers to run your own mining pool. And finally, I want to bring it back to this quote from Satoshi Nakamoto at the beginning of his great venture. Proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. We at Reactor are committed to returning mining to this principle that we feel it has strayed from in the past 10 years. And finally, we want you to get your hands on a Reactor today. Scan this QR code. You can get a free virtual miner for the duration of Bitcoin Miami. Thank you. I'd like to bring my CEO up on stage to answer some questions. This is Josh Metnick, CEO.
If our judges can kick things off with some questions.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you talk about the underlying physical assets themselves, the miners?
Sure. So what, like where do they reside? What types of machines are they?
Yeah, how do you know when you buy hash that you actually have
Yeah, so there's it's a great question. There's a massive amount of overcapacity in the system right now, so we're drawing on an overcapacity of 11 exahash across several different facilities. Different types of machines, different types of hosting environments, all normalized. I mean, it's all, whether it's a Bitmain machine or whether it's a micro BT machine. I mean, hashing is hashing. So that, whatever comes off the machines, it's normalized within our core, and people are buying hash power, not specific models of machines.
Just curious, where have you guys seen this initial interest coming from? You showed some of the numbers up there around the first 2 warps. Like, what's been the demographic or the persona that's been interested in this so far?
Yeah, they tend to be relatively sophisticated at this point. Miners who have tried mining in the past or have purchased machines and tried to find locations to host them at. And the product was really, we mine, been mining for about a decade or so, and so the product was really built from the ground up, based on just all the problems that we've experienced, on our own, and trying to kind of reduce those and make the experience better. But the current demographic of buyers tends to be relatively sophisticated.
You mentioned a new product idea, selling Lightning channels that have guaranteed revenue streams in there. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about that, how you're thinking about pricing it, and how you're going to test it?
That idea is very alpha. We're still in the exploratory phases.
Thank you. That was Reactor. Good stuff, Josh. Thanks. All right, next up. Next up, we have Osmo.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, I'm Piero, co-founder and CEO of Osmo. So what is Osmo? We're a payment company powered by Bitcoin, Bitcoin only. And we help people and companies move money faster than ever. Today, I'm going to speak specifically about Osmo Wallet. An Osmo Wallet is a mobile payment service. Imagine if Cash App and Strike had a baby that helps people in LATAM send and receive money anywhere, not just to one another, using a mobile app. Let's talk a little bit about the current landscape of Latin America. On average, 6 out of 10 people are unbanked in Central America and Mexico. That means they have no access to financial services. They deal exclusively in cash. Over 85% of transactions are cash-based or in cash equivalents, like checks. What does this mean? If you need to pay your water bill, you have to go make a line, pay it in cash. You need to top up your phone, you make a line, pay it in cash. You need to pay the electric bill. You have to travel, make a line, pay it in cash. And money transfers are still incredibly slow, expensive, and they're not inclusive of the vast majority of the population. The current system, as I said, it's slow, takes 2 to 5 business days, and the money transfer, local transfers are incredibly slow for today's day and age. As I mentioned before, it's not inclusive of the 65+% of the population that don't have access to financial services. It's incredibly expensive. They charge you between $8 and $75 plus foreign exchange fees. and local transfers are still expensive, and they're old school. There's no APIs, banking interfaces suck. So you're thinking, oh, well, maybe the people that have a bank can send money easily, right? Well, no. There's shitty online banking. This is a screenshot of my online bank in Guatemala. There's no Venmo, there's no Cash App, there's no Zelle, there's no PayPal. In 2023, it's nuts. And cash pickups, because if you're going to receive an international payment using Western Union and the likes, you need to go pick it up in cash. They're incredibly time-consuming and expensive. So what's our initial target market? We're currently live in Guatemala with on and off ramps, but we plan on attacking Central America and Mexico. Just to give you some context, you're in Miami over there. So why here? You'd think, oh, well, Mexico is the crown jewel, right? It's super sexy. Let's go into Mexico. Well, Mexico has 127 million people, and they receive $60 billion a year in remittances. The remittance per capita is $472. Guatemala has 18 million people, so about 90% less than Mexico, and they receive almost $20 billion a year in remittances. Remittance per capita is $1,000. You can see Honduras and El Salvador, the remittance per capita is significantly higher, with a much smaller, more addressable, more manageable population to start with. That does not mean we don't want to go into Mexico. Mexico is next. So why here? Well, we get more bang for our buck. Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador has a quarter of the population that Mexico has, and it receives more than half of the money that Mexico receives in remittances a year. So $36 billion come in every year. And they keep growing. The US is having less children, the population is slowing down, whereas Latin America, people are having more children. And our situation isn't great, so people keep migrating. 16% year over year, remittances are growing into my region of the world. Why now? Well, Lightning Network adoption is fire. Smartphone adoption is at over 80%. Just to give you an idea, when Venmo launched in 2009, the smartphone penetration in the United States was 75%, so now's the time. The really cool thing about Osmo is that no one needs a bank account. Onboarding takes less than a minute. You have access to multiple currency accounts. You can send international money transfers over Bitcoin, and you get a MasterCard debit card. And for the first time ever in Latin America, people don't need Bitcoin to pay at a Bitcoin merchant. The way I see it is, every time I see the Bitcoin logo at a merchant, it's like seeing Visa or MasterCard or Amex. With my Osmo wallet, I have local currency, and I scan a QR code. Osmo grabs that local currency, converts it to Bitcoin, and pays. So if we're talking about adoption, in our opinion, this is the way for adoption. Fast and inclusive onboarding, the lowest fees. We're on average 50% cheaper than the current options remittance companies. Instant payments, obviously over Lightning, and your money, your rules in comparison to traditional companies. This is a mock-up of what our next version will look like. We have bank integration, so cash in and cash out in the countries, multiple currencies, as I mentioned, and automatic conversion between Bitcoin and fiat. So you don't need to understand Bitcoin. You don't need to believe in Bitcoin. Everything in the back end moves over Bitcoin. No crypto knowledge needed, instant settlement in fiat currency, no asset volatility, no wallet management, because again, we're thinking about the bottom of the pyramid, the unbanked. You can't give them seed phrases and stuff, not yet. And much cheaper than existing solutions. We want to become the largest payment company in the region. How do we make money? It's an FX play. When users convert between fiat and Bitcoin to send and receive, we make a little bit. When users cash out to the bank account or in physical cash, we make a little bit. When users convert between fiat currencies, dollars and local currency, we make a little bit. And we've also onboarded over 300 merchants that accept Bitcoin, and we charge a payment processing fee there. What do we do that others don't? Well, first and foremost, we're in Latin America. Secondly, we're available for the unbanked. And third, we have cash pickup options, a lot of cash pickup options. What do we know that others don't? Well, I'm Latin American. I grew up in the region. And as a Latino, we're kind of tired of colonialism and foreigners coming into our region, shoving new technology down our throats. We want things made by Latinos for Latinos. And we know the industry inside and out. I've lived outside of Latin America for most of my life, and I know the pain points of sending money back home. And my family owns Western Union in Central America exclusively. So I know the industry from the inside like no one else. Let's talk a little bit about traction. We have 1,700 users in Guatemala, 1,400 in El Salvador, and all the other countries besides Guatemala, people are using Osmo as a custodial solution that's Spanish first. A couple of milestones. We launched 10 months ago. We're expanding our on and off ramps in El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Nicaragua by the end of the month. We launched a partnership with Strike 3 weeks ago. We secured a BIN sponsorship to MasterCard debit cards, so now we'll essentially be like an online bank for the unbanked. We partnered with the biggest remittance company in Central America that allows us to pay out into any bank account from Mexico down to Costa Rica. And we have over 12,500 physical retail locations for cash in and cash out. So far, we've had 5,500 users, a little over that. It's worth mentioning we've spent so far in these last 10 months less than $1,000 on advertisement. So all of this has been purely word of mouth. This is a little bit about us. As I mentioned, I have deep experience in the remittance industry. Our CTO is awesome, and Vic, my co-founder, is great with people and managing operations. Thanks.
So what is the regulatory landscape and the compliance requirements in Latin America? And then how are you worried about that? And your fiat over Bitcoin, that is, I'm imagining, depending on your partnerships, like with Strike or IBEX, and where are you seeing a lot of that activity from?
Great questions. The regulatory aspect doesn't really worry me at this point. What worries me most is collusion from the banks. But we've developed tight relationships with the regulators in the countries that we are currently in and expanding into. And honestly, they're asking for our help to come up with regulation. So I think we're in a pretty good position to create regulation that works best for everyone, including us. So there wants to be regulation, but they're moving very slow with the regulation. So that's not really something that's on my mind. Something that's more on my mind is banks realizing how big we're going to be and wanting to shut us down. And where are we seeing movement from? We see movement from the States even before Strike, just Bitcoin transfers coming in, and from the States, and a lot of movement in Guatemala and El Salvador, because obviously they have Chivo Wallet and Strike over there. And El Salvador is Guatemala's biggest commerce partner. So that's where we're seeing the second to the US, the most movement from.
You had some great early traction, but can you talk a little bit about the go-to-market and growth strategy?
Sure. So we've realized getting to the bottom of the pyramid is really hard, and you need a lot of money to do that. So we're trying to target the cool kids, the top of the pyramid, people that are more tech savvy, self-employed, because PayPal doesn't exist. And now with Strike, it's even not faster, but even easier to send money to and from the United States. So we want to target them first as the top of the pyramid, because we think they're like the spearhead. Once you get the cool kids start paying their kids, and then they start paying their drivers and their cleaning ladies, and it trickles down. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Do you believe that this is...
Can I just add one more thing? When we did our projections, we were considering about $70 average ticket size, considering the bottom of the pyramid. Since we've been targeting the cool kids, our ticket size is $283, so almost 4x the amount that we had considered. So even though our user base isn't humongous, our ticket size is 4x what we had expected, so we are above our projections in volume.
Do you believe this is going to be a land grab versus other companies like Cash App and Strike? If so, how do you get there first? And even if it's not a land grab, with increased competition, how do you see your business model changing as fees goes down?
I don't think it's going to be a land grab. If you look at the most popular startups in Latin America, nobody uses Coinbase or Binance. People use Bitso out of Mexico. Nobody uses DoorDash. People use Rappi. Nobody uses Amazon. People use Mercado Libre. So it has to be a Latin American thing. I really don't think, in fact, I'm convinced that a gringo company coming in is going to have a really hard time, and they're going to end up deciding, listen, this isn't really our turf. In the same way that I'm not planning on launching in the United States. This isn't my turf. But you need to be a cowboy to be in Latin America, and you need to be part of the club. They need to know who you are. They need to know whose son you are, and to map you out in the society. And it's sad, but that's the reality of, my town. So look at Facebook. Facebook has unlimited money. They went with Novi into Guatemala, and they didn't last 6 months. So I don't think it's going to be a land grab. And if it is, it's going to be from Latin American companies. And how does we can talk about the fees later. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Drop that off in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Osmo. Next up, we've got Wavlake. Come on up. Yeah, Wavlake.
Hello?
Ooh, this one works. Hello. Do you do something with this? Ask somebody. Is this working? Oh, there we go. Hello.
Oh,
my God. Good Lord. Okay. We're here. We're here. Hi. We're Wavlake. This is Michael. My name is Sam Means. I guess we're just going to kind of start with some background. I'm a musician and a songwriter. I have been most of my life. And I've released a bunch of records on major labels, indie labels, and for the last several years, I've been self-releasing, which is important to this story. I've also been lucky enough to tour, cool logo. Also been lucky enough to tour the United States and various parts of the world over the years. And 15 years ago, I recognized that independent artists really needed a better way to create and sell merchandise. So I created a company called Hello Merch, which provides e-commerce, screen printing, and other services to artists who are looking to sell merchandise without giving up their rights. So why do those things matter? In addition to those things, I strongly believe that Bitcoin, Lightning, and now Nostr will revolutionize the way that we conduct transactions and information globally. So a couple years ago, I leveraged the knowledge from the music industry, e-commerce, and developing technology on Lightning to explore how to merge these worlds together and solve a century-old problem of how to fairly and efficiently compensate artists for their work.
And so around the same time that Sam was exploring these ideas, I was thinking about a lot of the same ideas around how Bitcoin could change the world and possibly improve how we discovered and funded music. My name is Michael Reed, by the way. I am also a musician. I've made a couple independent albums, and I've been collecting records since I was a kid. I've also spent 7 years as a journalist, working as an independent producer, until about a decade ago when I started diving deeply into technology. And so when I discovered Lightning, naturally the first thing I started looking for was people who were applying this technology to music. And coincidentally, Sam's Lightning music player was the first.
I don't think this is working, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Wow, it's working now. Sorry about that, everybody.
So Sam's Lightning music player in the lower right-hand corner there was the first thing I came across. He had taken an RSS feed and hacked it together with a Sphinx chat room. So it looked kind of like a radio station where you could send sats to the musician for their music. And I had no idea how it worked. I had no idea who he was. But I could tell that there was a possibility here, there was an opportunity here for music powered by Lightning. and also that there was a lot of work that needed to be done. So I started envisioning this music player where artists could upload their music and fans would be able to directly interact with them and fund and support those artists in a very immediate way. And so I took this rough idea and I made a very early version of Wavlake where artists could upload their music, receive sats from anyone who had Lightning, and then show the most popular tracks according to the payments.
Yeah, so this is where we met. I think it may have actually been in this room. I was one of the first artists to try the Wavlake Alpha, but it was a little complicated. I eventually got my music on it, set up through a voltage node, and but I guess my main thing that we would discuss is like it just didn't seem like it was something that was going to be able to scale with artists. It just seemed too overly complicated. It needed to be more familiar with what artists were used to. And the process just needed to be simplified. So Michael and I began talking, and we quickly realized that our goals were aligned. And after a few months of collaborating, we decided to partner up on Wavlake. And so this is the Wavlake that you see today. It's come a long way. We got to work, and in January of this year, we relaunched Wavlake with a simple, user-friendly website that helps artists upload their music and receive sats in literally just a few minutes. And in less than 5 months, we've created an open library with over 200 artists and nearly 2,000 tracks.
And so there's been a lot of really exciting stuff happening since we launched in addition to that. So we've got artists from all over the world. We've got the US, UK, Germany, South Korea, Ghana, and more. We've also had interesting, unexpected things happen where artists are discovering each other on Wavlake. So there's a track up there called NPub, made by a rapper in Tanzania named Man Like Quex, who found a beat by a music producer named Tone Wrecker, Paul Birkin, in Minnesota. And he was like, hey, can I rap on this beat? And Paul said, yeah, sure, go for it. And so they collaborated on this track, and then it went to the top of the chart, I think the day that they put it up on the site. And then in addition to that, we have the podcasting 2.0 world embracing all of this as well. So people who have value for value podcasts have started integrating and playing Wavlake songs on their podcasts, and then setting up, essentially programming their podcast so that any sats that listeners are sending to their podcast from a value for value music player or value for value podcast player, those sats are going to the Wavlake artist when the track is playing during the podcast. So there's interesting programmability happening in these podcasts that are integrating music in a new and exciting way. So, the future. Our plan is to revamp the studio interface. This is the tool that our artists are using to upload and manage their music. We want to make this experience much more polished and add some advanced features, things like allowing splits between collaborators, improving the dashboard so that we have more advanced analytics about fans and what they're listening to, and just provide artists with better insights. And then also allowing you to customize your artist page so it more reflects kind of what you want your image to look like. Some of this will be included in a premium plan that we're in the process of working on right now. Next is a mobile app. So we want to bring the Wavlake experience to a whole new group of listeners with an experience that is native to mobile. It will feel as familiar as any other music streaming app that is available today, except it is supercharged with interactions powered by Lightning. And then lastly, we want to bring artists and enable them with the ability to have verifiable content in a real way. So Nostr, if you're familiar, has provided this very simple framework for mapping identities to public keys. And we want to build on that to allow an artist to cryptographically verify the content that they're publishing for their fans so that the fans can know exactly who they're sending their money to support them. And we think this is a really big opportunity in terms of modernizing the way that accounting and royalties are handled in the music industry as a whole. This is our Nostr kind of experiment, by the way, Waveman, that runs natively on Nostr as a Nostr client as well. So, yeah, thank you. Do you have any questions?
So, can you talk about the total TAM, how big it is, and like why this wins when you put it up against like a SoundCloud or something else? What is the revenue model and why is this big? It's great that it onboards Bitcoiners. Also, I've known Sam for like over 25 years, and he's a great guy for music business. But where is the big market here?
I think it's just the interoperability that's really huge for us. The borderless part of it is huge, especially, I mean, creating an open library that you can essentially put anywhere was a really cool thing to think about. And once we found something like Nostr, we started thinking about how we can create these relays that can essentially be fed into any client, social media, video, ticketing, live streams, demoing. So it's like, this can essentially, I mean, this is a huge question, but this could essentially replace SoundCloud, replace Spotify, replace Patreon, replace all these revenue streams, and just make it really easy. I think it could be done with, tags. So let's just say there's one relay for Paul Perkin, Tone Wrecker, this guy he was talking about, and that could just theoretically be fed in one stream, but all these different clients around the world and wherever can just be picking it up based on what the content is.
So music royalties is terribly broken. But as a replacement for Spotify, how does that work? Because you're going to have these legacy artists and these legacy catalogs versus like a SoundCloud where it's all about discoverability. You want to be seen. Where are you going to be at? How does that even work with the Spotify type?
Legacy artists will be a tough one. I mean, it's going to take time. These things are obviously early. So, we're just expecting, probably starting with some sort of bridge artist that will come on, realize that it's great, spread that message, and then hopefully it'll just be a snowball effect from there. It doesn't have to replace Spotify. There's Spotify, there's SoundCloud, there's Bandcamp. We could have it. I mean, it very well could be a niche market. It could be. I mean, Bandcamp is more profitable than Spotify. They've been profitable for the last 15 years until they sold. So we'd be happy with that. But I really think the Spotify model does not scale. They barely make money. I think they've made money once in their history. It doesn't scale. They're looking into other things to try to figure out other ways to monetize. It's like essentially a sinking ship. And I just think as these other clients come around, people are just going to realize it. They're just going to get on board and see that it's a better tool for them. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Michael. Next up, we have Radoy presenting Growr.
Hello.
Come on up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present Growr. So let's get started.
No?
Okay. So through my work in so-called financial inclusion, I have witnessed personally that the financial infrastructure in the global south is really broken. There are still almost 1.5 billion people that are so-called unbanked. So basically they don't have a formal account with an institution. So they are mostly self-employed and they remain in the informal economy. That's what is the main cause of this enormous financing gap of $5 trillion every year. We believe that Bitcoin fixes this. Bitcoin is the solution to the financial inclusion problem. So why don't we bring these 1.5 billion people, the proverbial next billion, to leapfrog the traditional system directly into Bitcoin, where they have uncorruptible sound money that they can save in. They can send and receive payments. Now a community custody is emerging with tools like Fediment. And we're bringing a missing piece to enable local communities to become basically their own self-sovereign banks with a peer-to-peer microfinance protocol. So how does it work? First, on the community level, the community operator we call originator is building and using Growr node to have some professional tools for loan and risk management so that they can underwrite loans to the community members. In the process, they provide verifiable credentials to build something that we call the self-sovereign credit record. So every member of the community gets a credit record that is their own. It's not locked into some proprietary silo. The originator then taps into capital infrastructure on top of Bitcoin, with Bitcoin, Lightning, but also the side chains. And capital providers globally are able to tap into these projects and fund them. So we are very happy to announce that we are now live in Africa. So our first pilot in Tanzania went live last month. We are a partner who is an agri-tech company, is serving 10,000 farmers, for cashew farmers in Tanzania. And currently already 500 of them are on board in our platform. They use USSD menu. This is really an African thing. I don't know if you have heard about Machankura, who provides Lightning custodial solution on USSD. We do the same technology, and as the next steps, we actually will add a Lightning wallet for the farmers to get also savings into Bitcoin. Then the originator, the agri-tech company, is using our solution to basically create project. Based on this project, they define the terms for the funding, and investors can use their own view of the project to decide to invest and directly fund it without any intermediaries. So how do we make money? First of all, we are not a financial service institution. We are just a software company. We build open source, but also we build premium services or premium software, and we host it, so we charge software as a service fees. We also plan to charge capital routing fees when we use Lightning and other solutions on top of Bitcoin, and we run the nodes. Obviously, this is a typical business model. And as a more long-term perspective, we also want to get incentivized to improve the behavior of our user base. So we'll provide financial education and get financial health rewards. So the competitive landscape is really a TradFi landscape. Really, there's a lot of local banks, microfinance institutions, fintechs, more recently, who are offering this kind of services. And our main value proposition is that we're embedding within the experience within this kind of supply chain or community itself. Go-to-market plan obviously focused on Africa in the first year, not only on this Tanzanian pilot, but we have already discussions with other communities in Ghana and Cameroon and other countries. We have two main types of communities. One is Bitcoin circular economies, which is great. We directly tap into their capabilities. But the second one is non-Bitcoin, and we're happy to orange pill them, and they become our missionaries on the ground, and they orange pill their members, so which is pretty cool. Then, of course, we want to replicate this model in other markets in the global south, and yeah, scale globally, ultimately to reach the full potential of this microfinance marketplace. We are Bitcoiners in the first place and builders. We have a lot of experience in the fintech and also microfinance space. And as we have reached this very important milestone to be live now with our first pilot, we decided to initiate a fundraise. So we're raising $750K for 20% equity, so it's a pre-seed round. And we have commitments already for $300K. So yeah, we're happy to discuss with investors. And also if you have interest in investing, not in us, but in our local originators projects, we're happy also to discuss this. Thank you very much, and let's orange pill the world.
Can you talk through the pilot project in Africa in a little bit more detail? Successes, failures, learnings.
Right. So maybe the first thing that comes to mind is that in the process, we had to actually realize that our local partner on the ground, and this is a very big learning, is someone who we need to help to build their risk management and overall financial capability. This was something that, and we will see that over time with other communities, if they want to become banks, so to speak, they need to have this kind of risk management perspective of things. And this is what we worked a lot with them to help them build the overall process. The second thing that comes to mind is that as a result, maybe of the first things, we help them to restructure the way they do this kind of underwriting on the ground. And also, of course, we help them structure the more wholesale part. So how do they present their offering to investors, and how do they get funded in this process? So I would say that it was a lot of a feet in the ground and getting deep into things for us, but it was also a great learning experience to see how we can then replicate this experience, because we have certain experience in the microfinance, but these are local specific cases where you have to bring some expertise to mature them and bring and professionalize these communities to make this thing work.
You mentioned that you guys have built your own protocol and somehow are using, I think, sidechains as well. Could you talk through how that works technically?
Yeah.
And have you considered using Nostr for coordination yet?
Absolutely. By the way, we were part of this Nostr build hackathon, and we built a protocol concept on top of what we have already, which is actually kind of, we call that Kiva for Bitcoin, because it's kind of social layer, and you can communicate about the, it's a discoverability, social discoverability of this type of projects. There's also a component that we see it in the future as a potential, which is the Nostr as identity, so a complement to the self-sovereign identity aspect. In terms of side chains versus no chain, so actually our protocol is a peer-to-peer protocol using hole punch as so basically hypercore as a peer-to-peer purely. The loan book is transparently synchronized with the investors so that they can see in real time basically what's going on with the loan book. The chains, let's call them side chains, like we started last year working with Rootstock because in fact they have some stable coins. And now, for example, one part of our funding for the originator comes through a Bitcoin-backed stablecoin, because the loans are underwritten in, obviously, in fiat, because this is the most natural thing for this use case. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rodoy. All right, next up, we have Geyser. Bringing the Internet of Money to online creators. Come on up, guys.
Thank you, man. Hey, guys. Good to be here. All right. So, this is Stelios. We are the co-founders of Geyser. And if you didn't know, Geyser is a crowdfunding platform that, a bit like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but works entirely on top of Bitcoin and Lightning. So, all right, there. So we built Geyser because we wanted to solve what we think is one of the most interesting and important problems that exist today on the internet. And that's the problem of the creator economy being broken. And it's broken because it's constrained by the constraints of the monetary system. Just think about this. If you want to send an email across the world instantly for free, you can do that anytime. That's ubiquitous. But try sending $1. Exactly. That's pretty hard. Right. And this problem is also seen when it comes specifically to the crowdfunding space. So a platform like GoFundMe, Kickstarter are all dependent and limited and restricted by the payment systems they use, such as Stripe or PayPal. And so they end up excluding almost 90% of the world population from their services. They also tend to freeze campaign accounts and charge exorbitant fees up to 10%. Yes, Bitcoin and Lightning have the potential to fix this, and we believe is the best shot we have at creating the currency for the internet. And this is because Bitcoin is hard money, most likely to be adopted by the world. It's also censorship resistant, borderless by nature. And thanks to Lightning, it can really scale to the world population, and provide instant payments with almost free, with almost no fees. One thing is to tell people to use Bitcoin. Another thing is to tell them to actually use it, right? So the challenge is you still need to make Bitcoin usable and easy to use. And this is exactly what we did with Geyser. So creating a project on Geyser takes only 1 minute. You just have to plug in your Lightning address in the project page, and boom, you're good to go. Funding a project takes less than 10 seconds. And the beauty of how we built Geyser is that we only route the payments, we don't custody them, so there's no regulatory issue, and we cannot freeze any funds. We don't just think about the payment flows and experiences, we think about the end-to-end user experience. So this is our user interface, and we really allow creators to sell rewards, perks, badges to help them take their idea forward. We're also integrating social reputation systems so users can log in with Nostr and Twitter. We also integrated incentives so users can, the incentives, so we have grants that allow creators to create this sort of like this economy within these verticals in Bitcoin, such as Bitcoin gaming. We also make the discovery experience great and allow creators to update their communities through entries.
So in terms of tractions, by building such a great user experience around Lightning, we've attracted over 550 creators on the platform over the last couple of months. These creators are artists, they're educators, they're community builders, and collectively they've raised over $250,000 in the last 6 months. This flood of creators on the platform has resulted in an average month-over-month growth of 33% in terms of projects created and 38% in terms of contributions. We've grown rapidly, but we've also grown globally. What we're seeing on the platform right now is that over 40% of the projects that are on the platform are created from areas of the world where traditional crowdfunding is currently not available. This is sort of validating our thesis that we had, that there is demand for crowdfunding all around the world. So, yeah, we also created, through the last couple of months, we've managed to have a great community of creators and contributors that are backing us and following us, and that has made us the go-to platform for Bitcoin crowdfunding. In terms of market cap or TAM, the TAM for crowdfunding is 1.7 billion and projected to grow 16% year over year. But we believe Bitcoin is sort of the black swan event that will make crowdfunding available to the 3.3 billion people that are currently living in areas of the world where that is not available. Looking out even further, we believe Geyser can play a role in the growing creator economy that we're seeing online.
Right. So looking forward, we see Geyser a bit like a portal to enable all creators, not just bit creators focused on the Bitcoin economy, but all creators to easily get out there and raise funds for their ideas. But also, more broadly, we believe that there is really a role for crowdfunding that is much greater than what it is today. Crowdfunding is, as we said before, limited by the nature of how money is broken on the internet. And once we can integrate money in the internet, the crowdfunding pie within the creator economy can grow much larger. So now is the time. Bitcoin and Lightning are ready at the protocol level, at the infrastructure level. Now we just need to build applications that make Bitcoin and Lightning actually usable. We're also just seeing a really massive traction, and we can see creators being hungry for solutions. In the coming 6 months, we'll be focusing a bit on the marketplace to really enhance the marketplace by integrating shipping, limited sales, etc. We'll also have accessibility questions around enabling different languages and different payment systems. We want to also solve the reputation system by making people trust content on Geyser a lot more, and we're planning to do that using Nostr as well and deepen our Nostr integration.
In terms of our business model, it's really simple. We're just charging a 2% fee on every transaction that flows on the platform. The team behind the vision brings years of experience in UI, UX, and Lightning development. We have a great team of developers and designers, as well as a board of advisors that guides us throughout all the areas of business. To make that vision happen and to keep growing Geyser, we're looking to do a seed round by the end of summer, and we're looking for investors that align with our mission to make the creator economy grow. So if you're interested, please come talk to us after this event or anytime during the conference. Thank you all for listening, and of course, let the sats flow.
I love that Paco's an advisor, for sure.
Absolutely.
You had something on your slide there that said, sell anything.
Yep.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we've seen, so on Geyser you can sell, you can use your project, a bit like the space where you sell products. And what's interesting is that there's really an incredible variety of things that people are selling. It goes from selling a newspaper about El Salvador declaring Bitcoin legal tender in order to achieve your project, or selling Nostr badges, to selling the actual product or stickers and perks. So it's quite interesting because it's quite flexible, and we see an opportunity here to kind of actually bridge cyberspace and meat space, because at the end of the day, people looking for memories, they're looking for memorabilia, and a lot of that is often also physical. So the marketplace is something that we're really, really bullish on. And in fact, just to add to something, 50% of, I think, depends month over month, but around 50% of transaction happens for rewards, for purchasing these rewards.
On the roadmap slide, you guys talked a little bit about the trust problem and reputation. Could you share maybe what you've learned, the issues you've had, and how you guys are improving on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can take it then if you want to jump in. But yeah, the way that we build Geyser from scratch is that we don't want Geyser to be like the everything app or anything. We always try to leverage what the internet provides. So people develop their social profiles on social apps, such as Twitter, and now these days more and more Nostr. And so what we've done so far is we pull, you have to create a project using your social profile. You can't just use your email, right? And what that allows is that it allows you to go and see who is this creator, am I connected with the creator, do we have friends in common, do I have people that I trust that trust this person? And we're just starting with that, but we're planning to do more by integrating with third-party apps that have a reputation system, such as Hive.one, or also something that we're thinking about is actually building out the reputation system using Nostr to create that level of trust, because at the end of the day, trust is a currency ever more in the creator, in the online creator economy, and that's something we're really looking to develop.
For those who aren't aware, obviously in Nostr right now, there's Lightning payments, sats are flowing like crazy there, one tap zaps. What have you guys learned from your early Nostr experiments, and what are some of the integrations you're planning to play with next?
That's a great question, and we're definitely very excited about Nostr. That's something that we've been following since the very beginning. Our first sort of experiments with it has shown us that there is a part of our user base that really wants to use it. There is also a part of our user base that just doesn't know about it. And we know what it can add to the crowdfunding experience, as well as the reputation that Mick just mentioned. So what we really have to figure out is how does it work technically for us to make this great user experience that has been the focus of our platform so far, so that it can work both for Nostr users and non-Nostr users as a sort of onboarding, so that you get this nice roundup experience.
Thank you, Geyser.
So much.
Good stuff.
Cheers.
Drop that off back there. Next up, we have Bitlink. Coming all the way from Manila in Boston. So Bitlink, welcome to the stage.
My name is Adrian. I am the CTO of Bitlink. I have built and scaled apps up to $1 million in annual revenue. And I'm here with our CEO, Ian.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ian. I flew in from Manila to ask for $500,000 for 10% of our company. Our company is Bitlink. The mission of our company is to get as many Asians in Asia to save in Bitcoin. So I'll tell you more. This is my family. I have a big Asian family. I have 6 uncles, 5 aunts, and 33 cousins. Because I have such a big family, all of our fortunes vary differently. We have Jake, who works in South Korea, earning $1,000 a month, living away from his family, right? We have my brother, who works in Singapore, earning $5,000 a month, sending that money as well. And we have, on the corner there, Raymond Jr. So Raymond Jr. is pretty interesting. It's his first job. He's working at McDonald's, $360 a month. So my cousins complain about the same things you and I complain about. Why am I working for so much more and saving so much less? This is why I'm so obsessed in orange pilling my cousins, getting them to save in Bitcoin. And that's the reason why we built Bitlink. Bitlink is the easiest, fastest, and cheapest way to onboard Asians and start saving on Bitcoin. The special thing we're doing is we're building on Lightning. And what that allows us to do is instant and cheap Bitcoin buys in increments of $1, $2, $8, $100. We don't care about the on-chain fees. Right? And it's been such a breakthrough doing this, right? Because what we learned is when people buy Bitcoin, even if it's just $1, $2, $8, they feel the exact same feeling, the fuzzy feeling you and I feel when we stack sats. So let me show you how it works. It's pretty straightforward. I send a $10 or a $100 gift to my cousins. It's pretty good because what we built, it's a fully functioning Lightning wallet with just a web app. They don't need to install anything. I just give them the link, and then it's a fully functioning Lightning wallet. So no KYC, no installation, no BS. And then they get Bitcoin curious. They start learning about it. We wrote articles, we do videos, and they start learning about Bitcoin, right? And they start stacking using the on-ramps that we built. So fiat on-ramps and peer-to-peer on-ramps as well. So this is one thing that we learned over the past 30 days talking to 200 users, and we just launched 3 days ago, actually. Lightning is actually pretty good, not just for remittances, payments, and merchants. It's also pretty good for Bitcoin as savings technology. So, saving in $1, $2, $8 increments for Bitcoin buys. So we've been working on this for the past 30 days, and we launched 3 days ago. We've already stacked and sold 1,700 dollars in Bitcoin. And here's the kicker. All of them, all of our new users, are all new Bitcoiners, so they came in cold. So my 33 cousins, they're just 33 of the 630 million people in our target market set. Asia has among the highest personal savings rate, and we're really going after that savings market, not the trading market, not the remittances market, not the payment market. And basically, these are 360 million people living in communist regimes and corrupt governments and really weak currencies. That's why they immediately got it, when we start sending them the Bitlinks. So that's it.
Thank you.
So what's the current most popular way that people in Southeast Asia are buying Bitcoin and stacking sats?
Yeah, so the most current way is coins.ph and PDAX. Those are locally regulated exchanges. And basically, their weakness is, they're crypto casinos, basically. So they have a lot of stuff going on, the other tokens, the other coins. So that's the reason why the market that they're capturing is not the market we're going after. We're going after housewives, bus drivers, truck drivers, like regular people, white-collar job workers, after the savings market specifically. Yeah, it's different from a tech and a market perspective.
What about the regulations there as far as crypto licenses and all these other things?
Yeah, sure. So currently, the regulators have a very open and sort of like they're willing to work with the local startups. I have experience working in crowd loans platforms in fintech in the Philippines locally. I did that before doing this, basically. So I have experience in helping regulators like shape new technologies and shape these complicated concepts such as crowd loans and crypto. So that's our gameplay. It's really to engage the regulators and sort of help them shape the regulation. Yeah.
Is disposable income meaningful enough to build a large business?
Sure. So the short answer is yes. So I'll give you how the numbers work in Asia. If you take the ARPU of Facebook in North America and Canada, US, it's about $200 per year ARPU. Now in Southeast Asia, the ARPU is $20, so it's a tenth, right? So the way you approach this market is you have that in the back of your mind, right? The populations are bigger, but the ARPUs are basically a tenth of it, right? So that's one, right? Just local understanding of that. So our goal is really to get these people who are earning between $1,000 to $5,000 a month, right, to begin with. The cool kids, as the Osmo guys said, right, and go down from there. So the middle class is big enough in today's dollar terms to support scalable.
And what about acquisition?
There are. We've designed our app around acquisition right now, because at the first stage it's just a link with a wallet connected to, but we send it to people with a gift. So we put in like $10, $20, $50, and we send it to someone, and all they have to do is open this link, and they have this gift. And we found that everybody I've sent it to is like, oh, wow, you sent me $10, thanks. And I have Bitcoin. Like, my parents were they were surprised, and yeah, they really liked it. So that's, I think, it's, how do I say? It's a very simple concept. You just give people money, but whether you give it to them through big marketing or you give it to them directly, in the end, you're spending money to get customers. So we went with a more direct approach there. And then we also have I have a background in SEO, so we can leverage search engine optimization. And there's a variety of other things we can add on for more scaling.
Yeah. So I guess just to add to that as well, I was formerly the COO of Food Panda Philippines, so it's like Uber Eats Philippines. So I know really specifically, how much to acquire these guys, how to acquire them efficiently. It's going to be $10 a head, and then, just continuously bring that down at scale. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was Bitlink. Thanks, guys. Next up, Michael. We have Oshi. Come on stage, Michael.
Test. Hey, everyone.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. So Oshi is a Bitcoin rewards platform and marketplace tailor-made for small businesses and medium-sized businesses in the communities they serve. We believe that Bitcoin is a grassroots, bottom-up revolution, and one of the best ways to introduce it to local communities is through local commerce on everyday transactions. Oh, I need the clicker. All right. So I was absolutely floored by Lightning Network in 2018, where we first started diving into this. It was a wild time to just reimagine how we might conduct commerce and how we might just transfer value in general, all the different applications. And so while there were a bunch of shadowy supercoders building out all the infrastructure, which has led to this meteoric rise in the Lightning Network capacity that we see today, we were really laser focused on providing different types of experiences to just really insert this in to everyday transactions and communities. And we were definitely trailblazing. It was a lot of fun. It was a hell of a good time, and it still is, and we're still moving forward. And but of course, it didn't come without any risks. Mostly just like you couldn't find a route to a payment, which was a really interesting problem for a while there. Anything over $10 had a really high probability of the payment failing. Just to put that into perspective, just yesterday we had somebody on the Oshi app actually purchase a half a cow over Lightning. That's a $1,700 transaction that went through without a hitch. So pretty incredible how far we've come. A big tip of the hat to all the people building out that infrastructure so that we can provide these different services and incentives. So the Oshi app was our first product. We were really focused on onboarding businesses because without businesses, you're not going to have any Bitcoin transactions for commerce. They actually have to be onboarded. So that was our first step, right? Businesses who were already using one of our partners, one of our many Lightning Services partners and integrations that we had to provide additional value to them, but also businesses who would have never otherwise had any intention of accepting Bitcoin if there wasn't for something else, another layer, an application built atop it to provide more discovery for their business, to provide some exciting, engaging rewards for their consumers, and ultimately just figure out ways in which we could integrate that kind of into their pre-existing systems and operations, which was a big challenge. We were really, really proud of what we did. We onboarded hundreds of businesses, everything from El Salvadoran street vendors to Texas cattle ranchers, thousands of transactions, commercial transactions for local commerce, coffee, pupusas, beef, Bitcoin miners, everything under the sun. And we help these businesses market and promote themselves and offer millions of sats to their customers as rewards. And oftentimes, the Oshi app was a vehicle for consumers, Bitcoiners, whatever the case may be, to take the Bitcoin circular economy for a test spin. It was their first introduction and oftentimes their first Lightning payment for a real-world product and services. But oftentimes we felt as though we really put the cart before the horse. But this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. We did need businesses before we could get consumers. And this is a really common problem. I mean, you have the country of El Salvador that rolled out, while they have great success overall, in terms of commercial transactions for goods and services, it's still very low amount of transactions that are taking place for that, even though everyone in their country was able to accept Bitcoin effectively, and they even gave 20 or 30 bucks to everyone in the country to be able to pay with it. So this is a really interesting problem. You have to have something to pull this, and we've positioned ourselves with everything we learned up until this point to probably be the best team to solve this problem, because we understand it the best, having personally experienced it. So what are we going to use to pull this cart into this bright orange future we all want to see? Honey Badger. But no, in all seriousness, what we think is one of the best ways to do this is just get as many sats into the hands of people as possible. And we can take a little trip back in time to 2010. Everyone's heard of the Bitcoin pizza guy who gave 10,000 Bitcoins for a pizza. I don't know how many people have heard about this guy who gave 20,000 free Bitcoin for nothing, or perhaps to drive additional adoption back as early as 2010. So you just put in a little CAPTCHA complete the CAPTCHA, put in your Bitcoin Lightning address, and it would just give you 5 Bitcoin, or sorry, Bitcoin address. Lightning didn't exist yet, and give you some free Bitcoin. Let's just get a handful of coins to try it out, right? And so that allowed a lot of, techies, cryptographers, and individuals to play around with Bitcoin for the first time. We'll never really know how big of an effect that truly had. It's very difficult to measure, but I imagine it had a pretty sizable impact. So we're really happy to release our new product, Oshi Loyalty. This is our solution. We want to turn every single small and medium-sized business into a modern-day Bitcoin faucet. So we want to integrate this into their current point-of-sale systems, e-commerce systems, so they can offer Bitcoin rewards, more exciting, engaging rewards, as opposed to the points and the punch cards and all the other shitcoin-like things that they offer currently that no one really cares about, and get them really quickly set up, no code, quick setup, brick and mortar online, the whole thing. So this is already live. We have it live on the Beef Initiative. We have Shopify, WooCommerce, and Stripe integration with a couple others on the way. Basically, during the checkout process, the customers are going to have the option, instead of just opting into standard email and marketing and promotional things, they can also earn Bitcoin rewards. So once they complete the transaction, they'll receive an email that you see on the right there to claim the rewards. And if you're a psychopath and you need a second reminder to get free Bitcoin, and the post-checkout screen will also give them one more chance to opt in to receiving free rewards. So perhaps that might be their second chance they've ever had to earn or even receive any Bitcoin. In terms of Square, this is really, really simple. We have a couple other integrations on the way as well. You pay as you always pay. You pay with your debit card, your credit card, you pay cash, you can pay Bitcoin, whatever. You pay however you want to pay at the point of sale, as always. You join the program by punching in your phone number or email address, as always, to join a loyalty program. But you earn rewards like you've never earned before. You actually earn Bitcoin instantly that'll be sent to you in either a text message or to your email address immediately post-purchase. So there on the left, that's a unique URL that gets immediately sent to the consumer. And it say, hey, here's your sats. There's no special extension you need to install or app to download or debit card or credit card you need to apply for. You instantly get Bitcoin rewards without introducing any additional friction than what consumers are already used to. And then, of course, they can withdraw their rewards to any Bitcoin Lightning-enabled wallet. And so, by the way, Tequiza, 5 minutes down the road, you can test this out live right now. It's amazing taco, so check it out. In terms of business onboarding, right, we've gotten pretty good at that over the years. Business onboarding is super simple. So effectively, they're just going to create their account on our loyalty dashboard. They're going to select the amount of rewards they would like to give their customers on every purchase, and then connect their point of sale or e-commerce site in just a click. And then they load up the rewards balance in dollars, as much or as little as they want, with auto, recurring, set it and forget it features as well, and then their customers get sats. Currently in our pilot, we're just under 2 weeks. We have 3 businesses. 12 million sats have been issued to consumers. Over 1,000 consumers have received rewards. 3 businesses, 1,000 people, statistically speaking, who probably have never owned any Bitcoin before. And what's really interesting about this is the rate of withdrawal that these people are taking their sats out is 4 times that what Oshi app is. They're beating the Bitcoiners in withdrawals, probably because they're curious. In terms of projections, I got to run through this. I'm running out of time. So we're going to onboard another 20 businesses here in the next couple of weeks because we have a really deep network of merchants already that work with us on the Oshi app. Furthermore, if you extrapolate that, we're looking at about 150,000 earners by the end of 2023, which is really cool. And real quick, this here. So I just want to I don't want to understand this open loyalty network idea here. Starbucks has thousands of locations. You can earn the rewards at any of these locations. You can redeem the rewards at any of these locations. But if I go to this coffee shop, I can redeem it only at the coffee shop. And it's coffee points. And if I go to this pizza shop, I can only do it there. They have their own rewards and systems, but they're not interoperable, right? They really have no network effect whatsoever like Starbucks. But if we're talking about Bitcoin rewards now, the rewards that they earn actually have real value, and they're available to use anywhere Bitcoin is accepted. So that's incredibly exciting, and it allows small businesses to almost kind of create their own loyalty network to drive additional commerce and compete with the big corporations. And with MicroStrategy rolling out their new loyalty and rewards for corporations and enterprises, that's only going to be a bigger thing for small businesses to get involved. So I think a lot of what we've done is proof of work based. We're a big, small team with big ambitions. JP is an absolute wizard. He's the shadowy supercoder behind all this. He's just done a spectacular job, everything from enterprise level software to the smallest of small business projects. And yeah, that's it, everyone. Thank you. Take some questions.
Thanks very much. How do you actually acquire the Bitcoin when the merchants paid you dollars or fiat? And on the client side, is it custodial or non-custodial?
So it's custodial. So it kind of works just like standard loyalty programs do now, like your Folds and Lollies and everything. So the rewards are custodial. They can withdraw them at any time. They're basically, they're not Bitcoin. It's Sats rewards, right? That kind of thing. In terms of how do we convert it, we're using APIs from one of our partners to do all that work. Happy to discuss this off the stage with you. Yeah.
What's the revenue model on that 1%, and then that Square integration, which they're like notorious for not working with anyone? Does that work at the point of sale devices, or is that just through the online checkouts?
Both. So it works both, yeah. So you can go to Tequiza and test it out. Currently, with Tequiza, just long story, we can talk about this, Muzz. But if you pay from the table, you get Sats back every time. Most merchants, about 95% of them, we have the option to collect that phone number or email directly from the point of sale, just how everything's set up there, not so much. So it works with both. Your first question? Oh, our revenue model. So for now, we take a 5% commission of the rewards that are issued, basically the rewards they load up. We think that we will also have a recurring subscription model where merchants can do different tiers with different features as we roll out more and more features. So it'll really be a full service loyalty and rewards platform, just with Bitcoin rewards instead of the traditional stuff that no one really cares that much about. Loyalty programs work. Yeah.
So I love calling it the open loyalty network. That's great. Fantastic. How, for someone that's not as familiar with loyalty programs, why are these companies going to invest in that? And is there an opportunity for you to also help with like discovery, for example, like, okay, now wherever I go in whatever city, here are the different small businesses that I can hit up?
Yeah, so to answer the second part of the question, yeah, we will be rolling out an API so we can do rewards as a service. Also APIs to help support other Bitcoin businesses and rewards apps that predominantly either have like a debit card only, or they have like big, major corporate partners where we can almost do like these Lightning-linked, Oshi-linked offers for them to help their users discover better opportunities, good opportunities to earn Bitcoin rewards as well. And your second question?
Question is, why would these companies do loyalty programs in the first place? How does it compare to like with the Folds and Lollies
right.
are doing those? Yeah.
Yeah, like for me personally, before I dove into this, I was never really a huge fan of loyalty programs. Like, I don't really care much, but I go and talk to people on the street. They're like, oh yeah, every time. I always subscribe to those. For the business perspective, it's like 4 times more expensive to acquire new customers than it is to keep the ones you already have coming back. So that's why they pay for it. There's a whole bunch of automation where they can do like, send out different emails at different times a day. We're going to have different features where you can promote specific products and services at specific times, and so on and so forth. So the full featured loyalty that they already pay $50, $70, $500 a month for with Bitcoin. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Michael. That was Oshi. And they were our last competitor in this section. So another round of applause for our competitors. Thanks, everybody. Now it's time for our judges to come backstage for deliberations to select the winner of the adoption section. So if y'all could go ahead and pop backstage, I'll meet you back there in a second. And in the meantime, at the Bitcoin conference, we are really excited for this announcement coming up next. With the Bitcoin conference, we have an additional competition being launched today. It's also going to be a part of our European conference at Bitcoin Amsterdam. So I'd like to welcome Roy Say from Samara onto the stage to tell you more about that. Roy?
Hello, everyone. Ooh. Thanks for joining me today. I know you've heard a lot of pitches today, and this will be the last one. And as we wait for the winners of the pitch, we heard a lot of exciting things, and hopefully this is exciting for you all as well. So my name is Roy, and I'm the Chief Risk Officer for Samara Alpha Management. And I'm a Bitcoin maximalist myself, as many of you are, and we're very excited here to announce a contest where we're going to be awarding $1 million in seed capital to our selected winner. And also, we're going to offer our partnership at Samara and all the resources and operational support and network that we have for the winning manager. So before I get into the details of the contest, I wanted to tell you a little bit more and give you a little bit of background about Samara. So Samara was actually founded by, next slide, please. Samara was actually created and founded by Christian Angermeyer, and who is a German entrepreneurial billionaire, and he's successfully and has a long history of investing in Bitcoin. And the other co-founder is Mike Novogratz, who everybody knows is a Bitcoin OG. And along with Patrick Lowry, who also is a Bitcoin maximalist, and in fact, he actually has a podcast called Proof of Words that you can find on YouTube, where he talks about Bitcoin and everything Bitcoin related. And the three of them really had a vision and a long history of seeding and incubating managers to grow into companies that could help support and grow the Bitcoin ecosystem. So with that spirit, they founded Samara Alpha Management and brought in a team of traditional finance professionals, myself being one of them, all of whom have 20+ years of experience in traditional finance, but we've also worked in the digital asset space for the last 5+ years. So our collective background and our, I guess, TradFi professional experience is what they were really leaning on to form a company that would help them find and deploy capital to qualify managers. So Samara Alpha Management was founded with that concept in mind, and we have three main business models. One is a market-neutral fund-to-fund strategy where we find managers to deploy capital there. Another is a venture capital fund where we have a longer lockup period for things that we would like to incubate for longer. And last but not least is a technology seeding platform. And the technology seeding platform is actually something that we're super excited about. Next, please. The way to think about this is really like a hedge fund in a box. And a lot of folks have tried to do this before, but I think what's unique about this is that we collectively have our 20+ years of experience, like I mentioned, in TradFi, and we worked a lot of different partners, vendors, service providers, and we really selected the best-in-class partners to work with in creating this platform. So the concept behind this, like I mentioned, hedge fund in a box, is that a new startup manager can come into the platform and have these 5 different things kind of built out for them. So there's a risk function where we are partnering up with institutional quality risk managers with models and complexities and analytics. And the manager can input data into the model and it would output risk matrices, which is very convenient. Risk capital module, where we will help managers maintain and manage liquidity, especially important in this time, in this crisis period. Custody wallet solution, very, very important, as we all know, banking crises and whatnot. And trading counterparties and exchanges that the platform will be connected with to automatically download the data and provide connectivity for trading right away. And last but not least, mid and back office integration. And what that means is really fund administrators that we connect with so that you could have your NAV downloaded, investor statements all automatically be centralized into a position. So the concept of this is to really help managers who have a great strategy to be able to get it off the ground real quick by establishing these partners, best-in-class partners, to help them without having to deal with the nuances and the difficulties of startups. I think recently in the banking crisis, it's impossible to get a bank account. It takes weeks, even months. So this is one of those things that we provide, and the partnership Samara provides is that we have established relationships with these best-in-class partners, and we can get you off the ground running. So now back to the contest a little bit more, some more details. We're looking for startup managers that have some sort of proven track record. It could be your PA, it could be anything else, as long as you have demonstrated ability to generate alpha through cycles. We're also looking for submission deadlines by July 1st, and the returns that we're looking for is something like 25% plus per annum, but obviously the higher the better. And that's really it for the contest. So again, my name is Roy, and I'm the Chief Risk Officer for Samara Alpha. A bunch of us are in the room, so we're all going to be here throughout the conference. So feel free to find us and talk about the contest, the company, or really just anything Bitcoin related. Thanks for your time.
Really excited about that Samara announcement. Now we have kind of the grand finale of Pitch Day, which is our winner selection for the adoption section of Pitch Day. So if our judges could join us on stage, pretty intense deliberations back there, but we're ready to go public with the choices. So first, I will pass the mic to Max to talk about our second place winner. Prize is presented by Bitcoin Magazine. So Max.
Hello, everyone. First of all, a shout out to all the teams. This was a really impressive competition. We're stoked to see all the Lightning, all the Nostr. It was great. I know I'm supposed to say just the top two, but I do want to give a shout out, even though they weren't in our top two. I thought they did a great job, and they were pretty much number 3 to Oshi. So Oshi, shout out. Love the open rewards model. Okay, so for our number 2, this was one that a lot of us are very excited about. I was particularly excited about the founder's vision, about the, frankly, advantages and go-to-market strategy he has, and dedication to what he's doing. So in second place, we have Osmo. Yeah, come on up.
Yeah, we have used some very specific criteria for how we determine this, and definitely shout out to, congrats, to Michael from Oshi. We've been keeping an eye on that for a couple years. That's come so far, and that was so polished, and that was awesome. So definitely shout out to him and everybody who did an awesome job. But the winner is Geyser. Mick, where are you? Stelios. They're coming up. We should do like an envelope thing, right? It's like the winner is.
All right, Geyser. You know, we've done these massive trophies in the past, but they always ended up getting left at the check bag section of the airport. So, Geyser, let's get a quick photo of the winners here. Thanks everybody for joining. And a final word from Geyser, but let's get a photo first. Oh, okay. I want to speak.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of Industry Day, and feel free to find our contestants out in the networking lounge, and our judges will be around too.
Thank you, Miami, for the last 3 years in this amazing city. The whole world shut down, but Miami welcomed us with open arms. We want to show Bitcoin to the whole world. We are taking the conference on the road to set the stage for Bitcoin in a new city. Nashville. Bitcoin 2024 is coming to Nashville in Tennessee, a city that is known as a music and freedom city. Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville from July 25th to 27th.